Today I'm going to show you how to make dungeon tiles.
If you play tabletop RPGs like Dungeons & Dragons or Pathfinder, you may have seen these around. They make it easy to map out different dungeons with a little bit more flair than a vinyl mat.
You can buy these piece by piece, but if you're strapped for cash and have some free time, you can make them yourself. All you'll need is some scraps of styrofoam insulation, some paint, a flat brush, and a palette knife. I also use a flat file and sandpaper, but these should be considered optional. If you don't have any styrofoam scraps, you can pick up a full sheet for about $10 at Lowe's or Home Depot, and you'll have more than you'll ever need. Almost everything else you can get at Joann Fabrics or Michaels for less than $15. Start by making a grid of 1-inch squares with a Sharpie or black paint. Try and keep the corners square with an L or a T square if you have one.
Next, you'll cut out the shape you want to use for this tile with the palette knife. The palette knife will give you a rougher edge that will look more like natural stone when painted.
A sharper knife will give you a cleaner cut that will look less interesting when painted. Use the file or knife to define the grid. Rough edges are fine. We're going to age these 1-inch tiles anyway. If you have flaking edges, you may want to strip them off with your fingernail or palette knife. Use your palette knife to press cracks into the tiles and chip corners. A light touch is fine as long as it breaks the surface of the styrofoam. Use rough sandpaper lightly on the top surface of the tile to rough it up slightly. Once the tile is properly aged, paint it black or very dark gray. This may take several coats of paint. Now go over the surface with a medium gray, leaving the deeper areas black. This can be accomplished by going lightly over the surface with a brush. It may take some time to get this technique right. To add a little bit more definition, dry brush a light gray lightly over the surface. Use a paper towel to take all the paint off the brush. A paint that dries fast is best for this. Then go lightly over the surface with the tip or edge of the brush. The paint will catch the higher points, giving them more definition. Dry brush white around the very edges and the highest points to accentuate them. You're done! Now do it for different sizes and shapes until you have enough to do a dungeon.